announce it. Do you have my Twitch channel? Should I link you over or you don't?
Oh yeah, link it if you can.
Perfect.
I don't have it open.
Okay, let me do that. There you go. I sent you over. Announced it. I started the stream. Okay, let me double check it. From this direction. Nice. Seems there is no lag, no FPS drop. No
stuff.
There is no lag. Okay, perfect. Position here, as I'm always saying. Okay, let me know. There, we can start. Let me know.
Yep.
Nice. Okay, welcome everyone in my very new Dev Live show. Today, I'm joined with games like still creating it. Sorry for I'm being rusty today because I woke up very early. And the Crawl and also Acid Knife. He's working on Acid Knife as well. I'm very thankful and very honored that you joined us for today's episode. And like I'm always saying, let's start with a little bit of introduction. So please introduce yourself for us.
Yeah, hi, I'm Dave Lloyd. I'm one half of a Melbourne indie company called Powerhoof. So it's me and Barney Cumming, who's the other half. And we started like 10 years ago, or maybe 11 years ago now.
It's a long journey.
Yeah.
I wanted to name, by the way, so many games that you made so far and you're working so far that I get so mixed-minded in that process of naming it. So sorry for that, by the way.
Oh no, it's good. Yeah. So our first kind of commercial release was Crawl, which was probably almost 10 years ago now, like that it first came out to early access. And that did really well for us. So that's sort of self-funding us. Now we're self-funded by that, and we kind of keep working on what we want to be making, which is pretty sweet.
I see.
And we've got a bunch of collaborators and people helping us out as well. Our current 2 projects, apart from a bunch of game jams and little small things we're always doing as well.
Yeah, you work on each IO that page, right? So
yeah.
You have your own games, very own games as well. I know that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, nice. I love making I just love putting games out there, and our current 2 projects are taking forever. So it's been good to have lots of little ones bubbling away at the same time on each page.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you for that. So my very first question would be, what was your very first contact with video games as a player, if you remember those times of your past?
Probably, I think I would have been maybe 6 or 7. Okay. And my dad brought home a PC, and it was an XT Pro, I think, and it was like Hercules monochrome screen, so like amber kind of screen, and had a couple of games on there that he'd loaded up, and I was pretty interested in it, like just diving in and trying to work out how to play stuff. And I remember just I think he must have hidden games in different directories, and because I always just felt like, oh, there's more games on there, I've just got to find them by navigating all the directories in DOS. But then as an adult, I'm pretty sure they weren't always all there. He probably just kept adding things, and I just kept finding them. But it never clicked. So
the mystery, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So it was very, very much a PC gamer for me. Not so much consoles. I had some friends that had consoles, but also a lot of other friends that had PC games, and we used to sort of swap floppy disks in primary school and things. Yeah. But it was definitely something thinking back. All my primary school friends, the main thing I remember is what games they played and I talked about with them. That were definitely my most nostalgic memories for sort of around those video games at that time.
Very nice to hear that. Yeah. It was a very different time, in my opinion, to that around that time that I experienced as a kid as well. I remember that around that time people really appreciated games more, in my opinion, because it was a niche hobby or passion, right?
Yeah,
only those people played games who really loved playing games.
It was so exciting finding someone else.
Exactly.
Yeah, finding someone else who played games. You're like, oh, wow, me too.
Exactly. We had great conversations with friends. Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Sure.
Okay. What was the transition time or the transition click in your mind that you realized that, okay, now I would like to work on games, not just that I love playing games, but I
Yeah.
also would like to create games?
Yeah. So for me, I was probably 19 or 20.
Okay.
And I found this, I'd always loved point and click adventure games
I
and
see, I see,
stuff.
I see.
And I found this tool called Adventure Game Studio, which which really let you quite easily stick in some images and have you walking around like your adventure game character, and write some dialogue and then like make a little puzzle. And so I had a really early digital camera and took some photos of my backyard and of my sister, and then got some sort of walking around stuff happening. And yeah, I was instantly kind of hooked and like, oh, I just wanted to keep adding stuff. And I was studying kind of engineering, but very vague kind of engineering course, and I
I see, I
switched
see, I
to
see.
computer science. I tried to switch to a video game course, but they didn't really exist back then. There was something that existed, but it was more for they didn't let me in, and I think they said, oh, you shouldn't switch from your engineering degree to this video game specific thing because you'll be wasting all the engineering degree stuff you do. So I was really annoyed, but I did computer science, which actually ended up being pretty useful because then I got a job in game studios in Melbourne.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so from having a computer science degree as a programmer, and I learned a lot there, and that's where I met Barney and a bunch of our other collaborators
I
and
see.
friends who
I
are
see.
now sort of doing little indie games with us and stuff.
I
Um,
see.
at our sort of these companies in Melbourne, which back then in Australia, all the kind of most of the games companies would just sort of try and we'd pitch to companies in the US to say we'll make the game cheaper than anyone else if you give us this contract, and so then they just hire some really junior people who didn't know anything and try and get it made way too fast with no budget,
Hmm.
and they were never very good games, but but we learned a lot. It was like being thrown in the
Business,
fire,
business, right?
Yeah,
That's the
exactly. Yeah.
business part. Yeah.
Um, yeah. And so thankfully, I think the sort of industry in Australia has changed a lot now, and there's a lot of really cool indie stuff being coming out
True,
of
true,
Australia,
true. Very
and
true.
Melbourne, the city I'm in,
I see.
especially, which is really really good. I'm really lucky to be to be in this city in Australia because there's a lot of cool stuff going on.
I see. I see. I appreciate, by the way,
Mm.
your honesty about this topic. Thank you. Thank you for that. So,
All
a
good.
more personal question from me would be: do you feel like your parents, family members, and close friends were supportive about this decision that you made the first step in order to be part of the video game industry itself and also to work on games? How do you feel about this?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it wasn't something where I had a really secure career that I was
I see.
quitting to to take a chance. When we eventually quit to go indie, I'd been working for a studio with Barney as well that was bought out by EA,
I see.
and we were making mobile games, and we were making really fun mobile games. And then under EA, we were suddenly just having to make freemium kind of games where we were just trying to like rip off the player. It felt like, and we weren't really enjoying it at all. Um, and yeah, and we were kind of I think I was at 30 or maybe almost 30, and kind of realizing like it's probably the time in my life where I should quit and make a go of it being indie, and see if I didn't want to burn through all my savings, but I had a bit of savings to and before I had a big family and or anything like that, when I was able to, and Barney was still living out the back of his mum's place, so he didn't have much rent to pay, so it was the right time to just make a go of it.
True, true,
So yeah,
true.
no, everyone was supportive around us, because we'd already been doing it for maybe 8 years. I think we'd already been sort of in the games industry, so we weren't we weren't shunning a different career for this one kind of thing. So it was always an option to go crawling back if it didn't pan out. I think
True,
that
true,
helped.
true, true. Very true, very true. Do you feel like for you personally it's important to have this supportive background, even if it's financial support or even if like mental support?
Yeah, yeah. Like I think, especially doing the indie thing. I mean, the scary bit was just like you kind of suddenly you're a small business owner suddenly, and
True,
you're
true.
responsible for all the accounting and
It's
lawyer
not just
stuff
fun
and all
anymore,
this
right? Making games,
terrifying
but
things.
yeah,
Exactly. Like I'm fine with like I'm fine with making a game and doing some programming and doing some art and sound effects and whatever, but like, oh man, I have to call an accountant or like organize a lawyer to look over a contract. Oh my god, what is this?
That's the
Yeah, so
boring stuff.
that's
Yeah.
the bit that I feel like I needed the most support for. But I mean, in general, no, I mean having supportive people around you is like always super important.
True,
Like
true, true.
and again, like I'm very lucky in Melbourne. We have a lot of meetups, like industry meetups, and I think a lot of cities have things like that. They're sometimes harder to find than other times, but yeah, finding some people that, because I don't know, I think everyone in this industry loves talking about what they're making and talking
True,
about games
true,
and
true, very
they're all
true.
interested in what other people are
Very
making.
true, yeah.
And so it's a great kind of industry to be in
True,
because everyone wants to help each other out, because it's at the end of the day we all love making games and we all love seeing games get made basically.
true.
So it's
Very true, very true.
so everyone's very excited to share, and that's really helpful, especially with the business stuff when you don't have a clue.
True, very true, very true. What helped you go through these times where you like mentioned you started sometimes questioning yourself that you are going into the right direction or not?
Ugh. I mean, I'm not very good at that stuff. Like, me and Barney as well both get super stressed out.
I see.
And yeah. So I don't know, just grind through it really.
I see. I see. I see. The hard
But
work pays
most
out.
of the time, later on, I'm like, oh, like later on, I'll be chatting to some random person I meet, and I'm like, oh, I wish I just reached out to people earlier, and just asked questions because I feel like, oh, I don't want to ask questions. I'll sound like an idiot. Oh, like I don't know what I'm doing.
There is no stupid question, in my opinion. It's
Exactly,
just
but you always feel like that. You feel like, oh,
true,
everyone
true,
seems to know what they're doing, and I don't.
true.
But yeah, it's I think a lot of people making games are kind of introverted as well, so it's kind of it's hard trying to talk to people,
True,
especially
true,
cold
true.
emailing someone and saying,
True,
hey,
true,
I know
true.
you don't know me, but I'm making a game, and
True.
what's your opinion?
Yeah,
But yeah, at the moment,
very true.
I've been working out of a sort of little share office with a bunch of other
I
devs.
see, I see, I see.
It's just like we're all crammed in this little room, but in the city. But it's really fun to go in, and it's really nice compared to working from home. Just going somewhere, and I'm sort of working through my problems with my project or whatever it is at the time, and then everyone else is working on their little things, and we can all chat and realize, oh, everyone else has things they're stressing about too, and it kind of just like grounds you a bit,
True,
and stops, and yeah, you can sort of stops you getting sort of too focused on the stressful stuff,
true,
and
true,
realizing,
true.
oh yeah, it all works out, and everyone does things in their own way, and
Very
yeah.
true, very true, very true, very true. I believe that all of us creators who create our own craft, we always tend to put our inner self in the things we make as a creator. Is this statement of mine true for your work when you work on your video games? And if
Yeah, I
yes, what
think
examples could you like tell us?
I think we're pretty lucky because a lot of our tastes align pretty well with like a Steam audience kind of thing,
I see.
like a general kind of things that a Steam, like a lot of people on Steam will get really excited about. And so with Crawl, it was like like gritty pixel art and dungeon crawling and monsters, and at that time we were really wanting to go to friends' houses and play local multiplayer games, like sit on the couch and play some games together. And at that time, there wasn't really previously there was the previous generations of consoles had heaps of local multiplayer games, like
True,
racing
true,
games all had
true.
split screen modes,
True,
and
true, true, true.
like yeah, and then
Some
that generation,
genres
like
did not
Xbox
have that
360, and
many. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, it sort of died out, and even things like yeah, but so yeah, we were like, oh, it'd be great to have some arcade games to play, and so we
Nice.
kind of did some little game jams just with some friends to be like, hey, let's make some games to just sit on the couch and play together, just silly ones to make each other laugh. And then we brought them around to my house. Like we sort of gave ourselves a month to make some stuff, and then
I
brought
see.
it around here and to play them all, and just like it was really just an opportunity to make our friends laugh, kind of thing. And that's where kind of both our first two titles, Crawl and Regular Basketball, came out of that
I
kind of
see.
thing.
I see.
And it was really just doing the thing we thought was missing or that we wanted to see more of at that time. And yeah, now with me making a point and click adventure, that's kind of it's always been a genre that's sort of really close to my heart because it's something I played as a kid growing up and always loved. And then it was my sort of the thing I first started to make when I was making video games, which got me really excited about making them because I think something about them, you're kind of directing a story, there's characters that all tell, there's a lot of dialogue, so they're all telling a story themselves, and you're sort of directing them, walking around the screen, and playing animations, and then you've got music and background art and character art all going into it. So it feels like there's so many different parts of it you get to make, which is the thing that really excited me. And so yeah, now I'm doing sort of a more modern take on a point and click adventure,
I see.
but still with pixel art and like all that stuff that I love as well. And I think we're pretty lucky to sort of have been able to self-fund what we're doing now, because we get to keep making the sort of things we want to play and that we like to see.
True,
Yeah.
very true. I see. Throughout the process of making all those games alone and together with your friend, were there anything that you need to cut out from those projects, by the way? And if yes, could you like reuse at a later date of the process of making those projects, or no?
Yeah, I think Barney tends to like build heaps of content, heaps of. So his focus is he's much better artist than me, so it's his art style that you see through our stuff. And he'll like when he'll sit down to go, okay, I should make some new traps, and he'll just draw like 50 traps and all these different ideas, and he'll get them all down on paper, and then there's this process of like trying things out and sticking stuff in. This is say more for crawl or something, but and then yeah, a lot of them get left by the wayside because they don't quite work or they don't mesh with things. And some of them we think, oh, maybe we'll get to revisit, and some of them we get to revisit. And other ones he just comes up with new things instead. So there was a lot of content for crawl which didn't go in because it wasn't it would have needed as much work again as it had already taken to make, or as much work again as it would take to just make a new thing. So yeah, there was definitely a bunch of stuff that yeah, for crawl we could have just kept making stuff forever, really, but we really got really excited about new projects. Yeah, for Acid Knife, I'm not really sure. Yeah, so Barney's Acid Knife is Barney's kind of big pet project. So he's been toiling away on that part time while also working on the Drifter with me. So I'm not. Yeah, I think that's something where he was treating it a bit as a learning project, learning how to sort of do a lot more of the scripting side, and he's throwing so many ideas into it. So it's a very weird game, like collection of lots of different concepts and ideas. And I'm sure some of them have fallen by the wayside as well. The Drifter was so the point and click adventure was made in made a little bit like writing a novel, where I did it as a first draft, and then I went back and refined things. So the first sort of playable draft, but really it was really for my eyes only, so that I then knew what the story was and where the characters sort of ended up by the end of the story, and then I could go back and work on layering on the things that were important to characters and sort of enhancing the scenes that were most important. And then yeah, there were a few parts that became kind of irrelevant to the plot or to the story, and were just sort of felt like padding that got removed. But yeah, it's really just basis, yeah. So there hasn't been a lot of stuff which was finished and done and then thrown away on the Drifter, especially because it was very much just like my sort
planning
of quick
phase.
Planning and like sketchy art that then Barney would come in and go over the top of. So yeah, nothing big.
I see. Throughout the process of making so many games together and alone as well, what was your favorite part of the process of making these games come to life, or parts if there are more?
Yeah. It's hard. Like, I think my favorite part about game dev is always just getting to do lots of little parts of everything.
I see.
I still really enjoy game jams. I think that they're a lot more immediately fun than the big projects.
I see.
Just because the big projects, you're just staring at the same project for so long, and by the time it's coming out, you've got so much banking on it that's a lot more anxiety than excitement to see it out as well.
True.
And then when people like it or love it, you feel like, yeah, well, I spent ages on it, so I hope so, Whereas when I make something in a few days and people love it, I'm like, oh wow, cool! I can't believe you like this. It was like a funny idea I had, So for some reason, I find the little ones, even though they're heaps less impressive, I guess, I find them a lot more rewarding and satisfying.
I see.
And that, yeah, because it's like a silly idea, and then a few days of like chucking it in, and it just things don't work, and you try it again, and then you get something that kind of works, and then you polish it up, and then you put it out there, and then people tell you that, yeah, people play it and seem to enjoy it, or like, you know, they'll say what they didn't like, and you're like, yeah, no, I wish I had more time, you know. But that
True,
feels
true.
like a more sort of just all positive experience.
I see.
But it is obviously for game jams, you just, you know, it's exhausting and stressful when you're doing it for the few days, but then that's over pretty quickly, and it's very satisfying. So
I see.
yeah.
I see.
But I do like I'm really enjoying on the Drifter getting to do sound design. I really wanted to do the sound design myself because I really love, you know, recording sound effects
I
and
see.
editing them and getting like, yeah, getting my own sounds into the game and building that sort of layers of. We've got friend Mitch who's doing the music, awesome sort of John Carpenter style music, and then layering that on with sort of ambient sound effects and different sound stuff happening, and then building up that soundscape is just really satisfying because it comes together quite quickly, and suddenly everything feels alive. That's really satisfying. Yeah.
I see. I see. You talked about your favorite parts of the process of making games, but what about the hard parts? So, what was the hardest part or parts, if there were more,
Yeah.
for you?
um, for Crawl, probably there was a lot of stress on Crawl. It was our first thing,
I see.
and both me and Barney were really stressed a lot of the time and burnt out. So we weren't really managing our relationship very well. That was quite hard. Towards the end, shipping and stuff.
I see.
So that's probably the thing that was we both found quite hard. But because like layered on with all the business stuff we had to do the first time, super stressful. For the Drifter, I think it's been like Drifter's been really taking ages. Like it's 5 years,
It's a
in
lot
the
of
works
years,
now.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And like, you know, the first couple of years with like through COVID and lockdowns and stuff. And that was when I was sort of writing the game, and it just felt like it was endless, you know. And then yeah, it's like it's a lot of content in the game, so it's just sort of uh yeah, a lot of stress of like, why is this taking so long? How could we do it quicker? And then especially with the design stuff, like I was a lead programmer at studios and stuff for a while, and so I got quite good at feeling like, oh yeah, I can scope down, I can schedule out programming tasks, and then add buffer time, and then I know, yep, that'll be not necessarily super accurate, but that'll be a good ballpark figure of
I
how long
see.
something will take.
I see. I
But
see. I
with
see.
design things, I don't know, there's something in my brain that just like, oh, it's a design. I've got to work out what happens in this next chapter. Oh, that's just thinking a bunch of thoughts. That doesn't take time. But it's like, oh, somehow that takes a whole month of just like trying to work out what's going to happen and like trying things out, and like it's like a big sort of complicated puzzle to solve.
It's
And
your
so
own
yeah,
puzzle, right? To solve in order to
and
have
like
puzzle for
yeah,
people to
and
solve.
exactly, and you can just like sit there not thinking, like trying to work out what could happen, and nothing really gels or works, and like it just feels like an endless thing. That was a struggle, but it was a unique struggle that, like, you know, you get through, and so um, it's interesting there. Yeah. Anyway,
I
I
see. I
don't
see.
really know.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Again, I appreciate your honesty. So you mentioned also like one of your favorite parts being like those small games that you make by yourself. Which one is your favorite so far of
Oh,
those little games that is really the
yeah.
closest to your heart, and why?
Often it's just the most recent one because it's the
Okay.
one I had. um, but I think like the Telwinium one. So I made
Okay.
this uh, a point and click adventure kind of game for a jam, and it was I used EGA art, this very specific like 2 year period, or maybe 2 or 3 or 4 year period, that Sierra put out these adventure games that had this dithered 16 color EGA art,
I see.
and so I did it in that style, and that's sort of very cozy nostalgia sort of style for me, and so they were really nice, and it was based on like Robert Jordan books and fantasy books that I was reading when I was a teenager and stuff, and really obsessed with, and I still like them as well, and so yeah, that was all like, it's like I'm just gonna make it. It's purely nostalgia because I've been working on, you know, the Drifter. I'm like trying to make it feel like a modern game,
I see.
not try and rely on old tropes or anything like that. But for Telwinium, it's just all about like, oh no, this will feel familiar, and super cozy, and for the people who like that stuff, they'll like it. You know, I'm not trying to make it for for people who don't play adventure games usually or anything like that.
True.
So it's very nice, very satisfying. And so I've done 3 kind of parts of that, and I've got a 4th planned, but I'll get to that after the Drifter, I think.
Nice. Are you, by the way, planning to release these smaller games on Steam as well, or they will stay on itch.io?
I think with the Drifter, I'll do the final chapter and then package it up and as one game and put on Steam. I've definitely thought about doing like a package thing where like multiple different games are together. Yeah, because I think that'd be nice and get it in front of a different audience as well. Because I'm really proud of I'm just as proud of the small things as the big ones, I think.
True. And you should, in my
opinion. They've all got like little ideas that I like in them, or little things that work really well. So yeah.
Okay. I'm looking forward to that, if that will happen, really.
Yeah, cool.
Thank you. Okay. By the way, what influenced the name of your company and the logo of it? Because we can see the logo behind you and the name of the company as well. So I'm interested in it. It's
a pretty weird story. Yeah, so Barney and I, this first company we worked at, we're making a game with a team of friends who we got on really well with, but the management people, a lot of them we didn't get on well at all, and we wanted to arrange our desks so that we could just be doing whatever we want on our screens without them like sort of seeing what we're doing and looking over our shoulders. And so we convinced them that there was this the best, most efficient workplace desk arrangement was this thing called the power hoof, where all the desks are arranged in a horseshoe shape, all facing a wall, so that you can't see the screens if you're the management walking past. And so Barney came up with the name Power. He said, "Oh, this is the power hoof." It's so to try and convince them that we were allowed to have our desks in this weird shape. And so that was the origin. And then when we and we worked at different places after that. But then when we got back together, we still kept in touch with all the people that we worked with there that we were all still really close friends with, and it felt natural to kind of have a name that had that history as part of it as well.
I see. Did the management team know about this name that you use, or
just for your company? I don't know. I think it's long enough ago that I don't think they might.
I see. And what about the logo, by the way? So what was the influence behind the logo?
Well, this one's just a cool picture that Barney drew.
Oh, okay. I thought it's the official logo of the company.
Kind of. We don't. Yeah, we're not very good at the logo stuff. We've kind of got a few different ones. We've got this sort of hoof that's stepping on the. I know we've put a different kind of shaped logo in each game.
But this looks awesome. It looks
probably not. Exactly. That's the main thing. It's like, it looks cool. That's good enough for us. It's probably not the best from a marketing standpoint, but whatever.
Yeah. I mean, creative people do not care about marketing that much, and it's understandable, right? Because it's like you're doing for the love of it and because you have passion for it, not because you want to market it and monetize it. Yeah.
Well, we've got the things that I guess we concentrate. I guess we want our games to be kind of to market themselves as much as possible, so they look exciting and make people who are interested in that stuff kind of see them and go, yeah, cool, I want to get that. Hopefully, I mean, it's probably pretty naive, but that's kind of
you have to be naive, right? You have to be that kid these days, right? Even in adult form. True. We talked about puzzles. What difficulty setting have you been aiming for with the puzzles? Because you said you wanted to modernize the whole game as the Drifter will be appealing to people, right, with its look. But what was the difficulty setting and the goal with it?
Yeah. So it's definitely not. I'm not trying to trick people with puzzles or have the puzzles really get in the way. So I guess one of the kind of core pillars or ideas with the Drifter was to have it feel like it's like a fast-paced point-and-click adventure, which is it's traditionally a slower genre, but not having like action sequences or what do you call it, quick time events where you got to press a button or something like that, but just having the plot and the character going from situation to situation and out of the frying pan into the fire and I want to sort of keep the player on the edge of their seat through that. And so a lot of the puzzles I have these sort of sections where the puzzles flow into each other quite fast.
I see.
You'll be pinned under something and you can just reach an item and you can get that and then you can use that to lever the thing off and then something else happens and you have to get something else and so they kind of flow on from each other, and that's kind of fun. And then there's parts where you're more investigative, so you like have a bit of chance to explore around and try and work out, solve some mystery sort of stuff, basically. Work out what's happening next before you're thrown back in the deep end and sort of more actiony kind of fast-paced puzzle stuff. But most of the puzzles are pretty practical. Like I want them to all feel like something that could happen to this character in this world. So it's a sort of modern setting with a bit of a tech thriller vibe. And he's a very practical kind of guy. So a lot of breaking things and levering things, and yeah, like trying to have a good variety as well. But it's definitely not the puzzles aren't the focus. It's definitely the plot and the story and uncovering the mystery yourself, that kind of thing.
I see. I see.
Yeah.
You mentioned that you and your friends made and work on different genre-oriented games. How do you feel about players' feedback when they see that this company of yours made and make different genre-oriented games? Like nowadays, how do you feel about nowadays players' opinion about a company making very different genre-oriented games?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely heaps of people who just want us to keep making crawl stuff because that was, people love that, and fair enough. We sort of at the time we'd worked on it for 4 and a bit years, and a lot of that through early access, and so we were kind of happy to let it go there. And actually when we started Powerful as well, like we planned to both sort of split our time between multiple projects because that's something we never got to do at working at studios. And we had all these things
your camera.
Like I was already.
Oh, okay. Your camera froze. Yeah, your camera froze.
All right.
You're back.
Yeah.
Like, sorry
cool,
for that.
Yeah, that's all good. Oh yeah, I got a bit of a slow ping. Oh, well. Yeah. So it was always a natural thing, I guess, for us to sort of be doing a bunch of different genres. Yeah.
No, for me, I love that. It's just I was curious about how people, how nowadays people especially deal with that fact that there are very different genre-oriented games in your library, right? So.
Yeah, I think there's kind of a thread that runs through that feels like they've got something in common. I don't know what it is exactly, but people seem to say that they can recognize a Powerful game. And sometimes it's even when it's something that I've done the art for instead of Barney and things like that. So it's true. Yeah.
I believe that every company, to be honest, has his own style, even if it's like the art style, even if it's like the puzzles or the gameplay aspects. I believe in that. Or even if it's the musical score. It's small segments probably, but on the cohesive side as well, it can be like that. The company has his very own style of making those games, even if they are very different genres. So yeah.
Yeah. I think even like even comedy games we've done, and like I feels like there's not much different than like not much. You can't get much further distance than like a comedy adventure game and something like Acid Knife, which is very much a gritty, like almost not quite Souls-like, but like got that sort of heavy vibe and difficult, slow-paced platforming or something. But yeah, there's definitely kind of an edge to things that, yeah, I don't know, just a style. And there's stuff that where I think both my and Barney's influence have rubbed off on each other, and we've learned a lot from each other, and so we kind of gravitate towards the same vibe, I guess, in some ways. Yeah.
You mentioned working on a couple of projects at the same time. How do you balance the influence between one project and another if it's happening at the same time?
Like when we first started out, I was sort of spending a few days a week on one project and other days on another.
I see.
But I think that's quite hard. Like Barney's been sort of spending. He was doing half-time on Acid Knife and half-time on Drifter. At the moment, he's more full-time on the Drifter until the sort of art gets done for that. And I've tended to take slabs of time, like a month, to work on a separate project for a bit, or even just a couple of weeks or something. And that's like with the game jams as well. Because it does take a few days to kind of get back into the groove and back working on something that's a separate project. But yeah, I mean, there's 2 of us, so we've kind of, it's like, oh yeah, well, we can do two projects. we both wanted to leave EA at the same time, and so we kind of were like, oh, we may as well do something together. But we both would have done separate games, and separately, I guess. Otherwise, and so it kind of feels natural that we'd be doing more than one project at once. And we've both got like a huge list of ideas that things we want to be making. So it's always for us, it's always like, oh, I wish we could be making more things. And so it's weird to us when we see big companies of 20 people making one game for 3 years, and it's like, surely couldn't you be making 20 games? But yeah, no,
Very true, very true, very true.
Yeah, no, it's like, I mean, it's killing both of us that we're taking so long to make these two projects. So yeah, looking forward to, I think after these ones, or after the Drifter for me, doing some smaller projects will be very satisfying. Like one or 1.5, 2 year projects or something would be nice, as opposed to 5 years.
True. Okay. You mentioned, and we talked about that you're working on these games with your friend. Do you believe in perfect synergy between team members in a company, or is it something that develops out through the years of working together?
Well, nah, I don't know. I think we need look at a lot of teams that have made really good stuff. They don't necessarily get on all levels.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
I think, and yeah, me and Barney have butted heads a lot. But at the moment, we're sort of, because the Drifter is more my project and Acid Knife's his, it makes it a lot easier. Because I think we're very in tune in a lot of stuff. Like we will know what we're talking about, but then there's always just things where my priorities will be this way. Like I'll think this thing is slightly more important. Barney will think this thing is slightly more important, and that's where you're like, no, but we have to do this. It's the most important thing, and that gets hard.
That's
and I
the
mean,
passion, right? That's the passion about the project.
Barney's very art brained, and I'm very programmer brained. So like I do all the accounting stuff because I can't trust him to do it, because he won't even do his personal accounting. He forgets to do it, stuff like that. So there's just big differences. Yeah, it's a hard thing to answer, because it's like it feels when you're hanging out. We get on really well when we're hanging out, but then there's times where we get really frustrated with each other, and we're very different in a lot of ways, and we have different tastes as well. But then you do say we talk to other people and like, oh, actually, Barney's a lot closer to sort of, Barney is very much wants to be doing the same things I'm doing compared to other people. So I don't know, it's really hard to say. Because I think from our perspectives, we're quite different. But then when other people look at us, they're probably like, "Oh, yeah, you both like the same things."
I see.
But yeah, we kind of, I think we feel better when we see other devs who are in small teams or duos or whatever that also talk about finding it hard working with each other, and that we've survived for 10+ years doing it, because I think it is something that everyone struggles with. Like any relationship, it takes work.
True, very true,
yeah.
very true. Okay. So working on video games for so many years, how have you changed as a person in other territories of your own life, if there was any change, of course?
Yeah, I mean, since like I became a father like 5 years ago,
Okay.
so like personal life stuff just happens. Yeah, I don't know. Hard to think philosophically how I've changed.
Sorry for asking these questions.
No, it's a really deep question.
Thank you.
It's hard to sort of answer. It's not something I reflect on that often. I've got a lot older. Like I'm 42 now. Yeah, when I started Powerwolf, I was 30. When I started making games, I was 20. So yeah, it's been I guess I've grown up a lot, but nothing particularly that's like, I don't know how. Yeah, there's definitely. I feel like I'm a lot more relaxed about a lot of things, and I'm a lot more sure of myself in a lot of things.
Yes.
But honestly, still, when I come across a problem at work, it's the same as when I did like 20 years ago. I'm like, I'll never be able to solve this. This is impossible. How am I going to do this? And then like a day later, I'm like, oh, that was fine. I figured it out. It's like I've done this so many times. Like my wife will, like, I'll complain, I'll tell my wife or something, and she'll like, oh, I can't work out how to do this. And Claire's like, ugh, you always say that. Then tomorrow you'll figure it out.
You know that you will be able to
she
handle
knows exactly,
it, right?
Yeah. It's been 20 years. Figure it out already.
Supportive background that we talked about.
This always happens. Yeah, exactly.
True. What was the shortest time that you needed to find the bug that we talked about this topic? Like
find a bug?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, one thing that happens to everyone, I think, is you get stuck on something and you keep bashing your head against it, and then it's getting really late, and you're like, you've got to stop, and then so you stop and you go home, and then you just wake up in the morning and you know the answer. It's like easy, or even you just like go for a walk and come back and you know the answer.
I see. I
So
see. I see.
it's yeah, very very much like stepping away. Just let's your subconscious just work it out for you, and like think over the problem, and then you come back and you're like, oh yeah, I'll try this, that'll work, and then it works, you know. um, yeah, so but I mean, there's bugs, and bug fixing is probably that's probably one of the best skills I learnt doing professional programming, was just how to like feel like I can always solve a bug if I know there's one there, just like debugging and stuff. Because
I see.
when you're programming, when you're first programming, you sort of just have this fear of breaking something, you know, and not knowing
True.
why,
True.
or
True.
why
True.
it's
True.
broken, or like if I touch something the wrong way, it'll just break everything. And
True.
so getting over that, and sort of understanding things to the point where I don't have that fear, was probably it was very a good thing to have done before I started making my own games.
Yeah, very true, very true. I always like hated programming when I used to learn IT at a university, and I think that's why I like ended up not finishing
Mm.
my diploma and degree. No, I had some fun with programming, but I don't know. There were some cases when like I was totally lost, and I just gave
Yeah,
up on
yeah.
that. So
Oh,
it's like,
everyone's like that. Yeah,
yeah,
for
yeah,
sure.
okay, okay, okay. So I'm a big fan of like physical editions of games. Are you guys planning to have a physical edition for the Drifter, or
Oh,
it's a
I'd love
spoiler
to as
time?
well. Yeah, during like the COVID lockdown stuff, I just started collecting big box old PC games
I
like I used to
respect
have. So I
that.
got some
Nice, nice,
bunch up
nice,
on the
nice.
shelf until I ran out of shelf space.
True, true,
I
true,
love it.
true,
I love
true.
that stuff. Yeah, so I really like that too. But
I see,
yeah, I'd like to do something for the Drifter, but I've no idea. Yeah.
I see, I see, I see. And what about other platforms? Are you guys planning to like release the game for other platforms as well, or just
Yeah, we'll
PC?
do Switch.
Okay,
Do Switch for the Drifter as well. And I'll look at the others after, I think, and see how it goes. Yeah, can't do too much at once.
true, 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 true. So, what about the music part of your game? Was it something that was also done by you and your friend, or did you hire music
No, yeah.
composer?
So another friend that used to work with us at our first company, Louis. Um, sorry.
It's okay.
He started out. He did a bunch of the adventure game jams, and a bunch of our game jams together
I
with
see.
us. Bits of programming and also music. And he was sort of teaching himself to do better music as well. And so he did all the music in the demo, and the first sort of half of the game was his. But then he's moved to Tassie and started a family and couldn't do any more. And so I got another friend who I'd been working in the share office with, Mitch, who jumped in, and he's been doing awesome stuff as well. So really like going for like a lot of dark synths, John Carpenter stuff, but then influences from a lot of stuff, but like a bit of like towards the end of the game when it gets a bit more techie and sci-fi, there's a bit of like Vangelis, bit kind of Blade Runner-y vibes, and also influences from this LucasArts game, The Dig, which I just loved the soundtrack on. It was just had
Nice.
this beautiful ethereal alien kind of synths and stuff that went really well with the John Carpenter dark synth and stuff like that. So I'm really excited about the soundtrack. It's like something I really love, and I quite like especially with point and clicks, you can really choose moments where it's almost like a film score. You can bring the music
True,
right up
true,
to the
true.
top.
Very true, very true. Yeah, yeah.
Whereas say an action game, maybe more of the time you've got to be able to hear all the sound effects at the same time
It's
as everything else.
constantly
It's like
like be there at action games, but
yeah,
the
yeah.
point and
So
click
because
games it
it's less,
just hits you and pulls you in, right?
yeah, yeah. So that's been yeah, I've been really excited about the music.
Nice, nice, nice. You mentioned having time with your family. How do you balance your free time, family time, and your work time working on games? Is it easy or hard for
Yeah,
you to balance
I
your
don't.
time?
I think I'm pretty good at it.
Okay.
But me and Barney are very different. So when I first started Powerhoof, my wife was working full time, and so she had to get up for work. And so I was like, oh, I'm just like I don't want to seem like I'm being a slacker while you're having to go off to your boring office, have a shower, and make sure, um, make sure and get dressed and like yeah. And I read something when I first quit that you should always yeah, always put your shoes on in the morning to make sure you're not just get you in the right mood for the day or something like that. So I always did that, and I was always I had a schedule which I'd kind of fill out about like, okay, these are the hours I'm going to spend on work, and I'd try and stick to kind of roughly office hours basically, and I still do that. So I kind of I'm so been quite, I guess, disciplined about that kind of thing, and like even when I don't feel like it, I just sit down in front of my computer at 9:30 or whatever, and then like sort of flick around until I get started. But I think Barney is sort of more the artist thing of like getting later and later, and like he's working till 9 p.m. and then the next night he's working till midnight, and the next night he's working till 3 a.m. and then getting up later every day, and then that kind of thing happens a lot more with him. I think probably less so the older we've gotten, but yeah, so it's just, I think everyone's a bit different. But yeah, I'm definitely very much the I'll just do this as keep this a 9 to 5 thing, and prioritize family stuff outside of that, because I feel like it's not fair on my family.
True. I respect that
because I'm making games. It's not like I'm not a doctor. It's not like people are dying when I'm not working.
Even then, you should like prioritize.
No, but yeah, not to say the doctors shouldn't have a
balance. I got you with that. Yeah. I respect that. Yeah. Have you always had this family-oriented mindset, by the way? Because I respect that. That's why I'm asking. Or is it something that developed throughout the years?
No, it's just don't know. Yeah, no, it's just sort of been I think family's always been pretty important to me.
I see.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people nowadays choose work over family. That's why I'm asking. So it's rare nowadays. It's getting rare, in my opinion, at least from what I see.
I'm super privileged to not be stressing, because if I had to go to work, because otherwise my family couldn't provide. We didn't have enough money, and we both had to work and stuff. Then I'd be working. So I'm very, very lucky to be in a position where I'm able to do it and not have to stress about not having income, if I'm not working harder or something like that. So absolutely coming from privilege. Just very like
I said, I respect that.
Right situation. Yeah.
What would be your dream game to make, by the way? Because you mentioned that you love making point-and-click games, and you love making small games as well. What would be a dream game to make for you, or you already made your dream game?
I think honestly, it's always, I mean, there's always a bit of grass is greener thing. So I think getting to do more smaller games now, I think, is the thing that I'd be like, oh, that'd be so fun. Getting smaller games out and having them be something that I feel like are big enough and to work on Steam, to be able to sell on Steam, but not to take so long. But I do really like the idea of being able to keep making stories, like telling stories through games in different ways. And I don't really have a big dream game. I've definitely got some big ideas that I'm like, oh, this would be really fun.
Okay.
But it's not, I don't know. But they're things that I probably will just potter away on, as opposed to being a dream game that like one day I'll make this amazing thing,
Understandable.
Yeah. Okay. For sure.
Are you down to go into some questions from my chat as well before I ask some more questions?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. Let us know, ladies and gentlemen, by the way, if there is any question, let us know. Bármilyen kérdés? Any question? Any question? Any question? I had a question, by the way, on my mind, but I can't think of the question now. I cannot recall the question. Let us know, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, if there's any question. Let us know. Bármilyen kérdés? Oh, I know the question that I wanted to ask. Is it easy for you or hard to let go your past projects? So when you're switching to make a new game, is it easy for you or hard to let go your past projects?
I think it feels hard until you do it. Like It feels like, even with the Drifter right now, like I feel like, oh, I can't put it down. I can't take a day off. I've got so much to do on it. And I feel like that until like I start doing a game jam, and then up if I plan to do a game jam or something, up until it starts, I'll be like, oh, why did I decide I'd do this? I've got so much stuff to do. Then the day the game jam starts, sit down, start thinking of ideas, have something that's been interesting, and then suddenly I'm like away and like I'm excited about the new thing, excited about this other sort of side thing, and so yeah, definitely. While I'm in the thick of it, it just feels so hard to change and do anything different. But yeah, once I once I've sort of started on the next thing, that's like the exciting thing, and you don't think about all the things that you thought were the most important thing in the world like a few days ago. But yeah, so it's not too much of a problem when but it's hard. It's hard. I have to make myself do the game jam stuff and like do small projects because I'm always happy that I've done them, but when they're coming up soon, I always feel like, oh, I don't have time for this. So yeah, I have to tell myself I always feel this way. I've got to make myself do it because then I'll really enjoy it and I'll have learned something and got better as a game developer and so it's always worth it.
I see. So we were talking about having an own style, personal style, even if it's about the company's own style, even if it's about your own style in creating games and being a creative person. When have you discovered this own style of yours? So not the teams,
Yeah.
but of yours, like a creative person or as a creative person.
Yeah, I don't think it's something that you really set out to do necessarily.
Okay.
Kind of just uh, I think you start out with like everyone starts out with a style, and then
Sure.
you kind of but usually your style when you start out is the things you don't like about it that you want to fix. But then over time, I guess you probably get better and making things that are more appealing as you're getting better at art or anything. But the things that I don't know. There's just elements of what you started out doing that always stick with it. That
True,
probably is
true,
what
true.
makes it your style.
True, true,
It's a really
true,
hard
true.
thing to put your finger on though, because like I couldn't say what it is exactly.
I see.
Yeah,
Yeah, but as you mentioned, like the games that you make by your own self or as a team, it's always like shines that people know that it's your game or the your and your
yeah.
friends
There's
game, right?
I
So
think there's
that's
just
the
like
style I mean that I was asking about.
little decisions and
I
factors that
see.
probably go into it that
I
we
see.
kind of have just like we chanced on different times or things that we just
That's the human factor in
naturally.
the creator, right? So
Yeah, exactly. I've heard listening to people to novelists talk about style because that's an important thing in a novel. That say publishers will always look for the style. Like
true,
if they
true,
like the style of the author, that's who they want to publish.
true,
But then people hearing authors talk about style, like how do you get a style? There's no answer. It's just how you write, and as you write more, you kind of the things that were maybe you were trying to do by copying other people sort of fall away a bit more and you sort of naturally just happens, but it's not something that there's any
I think
real
it's rather
rules
being
for
influenced by a lot of
building.
things around you and pour yourself into the influences and have a mix of everything,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So
That's
you
right.
have all
Yeah.
the influence and also pull or push your heart and
Mm.
everything into the craft you make, like we discussed it before. So I think that could be like
Yeah.
the mix of having your own style, in my opinion, at least.
Yeah, and I think it is important to put, especially for an indie thing, to put yourself in what you're making as much as possible. Like
True. And
you
also what feels
don't
comfortable
make a
for you,
game.
right? So
Yeah, because it's then you're making something that only you can make, and that's kind of
true,
your
true,
a
true,
big selling point. Is like
true.
no one. This is your particular game.
Exactly.
Because if you're working in a big team, that's just not possible.
True, true,
But
true,
doing
true.
something yourself, you're gonna
I
get
mean,
like
it's
one
possible,
person's kind
but
of
not
vision.
that common, in my opinion. So it's
Yeah.
possible, but I remember myself talking to a developer who worked in a bigger team, and she told me that she, as an animator, like always had these little animations that would people could tell that it was her who made it
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
had these
Yeah,
little details, that it was her tick to do in that
yeah,
direction. So I feel like everyone has these little, elements in, as we call
yeah,
styles, right? It's
absolutely.
just, in my opinion, it's hard to notice, like you said, if it's a very big
Yeah,
team of like
yeah.
100 people or something. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, you notice in smaller parts,
True, true, true,
elements and
true,
stuff. Whereas
true.
when you're indie, you're trying to sort of market and sell your own game. You kind of that's one of your big things is like, well, no one else would have made this game exactly how I
True,
made
true,
it. So
exactly. Even if
that's
it's
what
about
makes
the
it kind
art,
of have some
animation,
value.
gameplay. Yeah, exactly,
Yeah,
exactly,
it
exactly.
gives it some value. I think. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, there is questions, by the way, or there are questions. Sorry.
Cool.
Okay. Okay. Minnie says that she has uh, what is it called in English? Different feelings about seeing all the games in a good way. Uh, would you like to make in the future a game about Vikings?
Ah, yeah, I guess I could see a game about Vikings being
Because
pretty fun.
she says that your style and talk style and everything is so strong, like the Norwegian style. So she says that probably those games would be awesome as well, not just these ones that you
Yeah,
made so far.
yeah. Yeah, no, that'd be cool.
Okay.
I can imagine that.
Have you ever think about that, or no? Just now when she
No,
asked you.
not. I mean, not particularly.
Okay.
No, not. It's not. Yeah, no, not particularly. But
Okay.
not for any reason. Just, just.
Like you meant to ask
Yeah.
very, very
One
like
day, you never know. That's the thing. I never know.
interesting
Like it's like
questions.
things like game jams. It's always just usually on the days. It's like, oh, what about Vikings? Oh yeah, cool. That'll work. Let's do a Viking game. There's not often. It's
You have
not.
to
It's like,
pay
yeah, we like
credits
Vikings.
now to
Vikings are
her
cool.
if you make a
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Viking game, right? Nice, nice,
Yeah, yeah.
nice.
So it's the kind of I think one thing with influencers, because we were talking about influence before, is a lot of people I think making game developers, especially people starting out, look at recent things as like recent games, especially as influencers, which I think is the wrong place to look. It really is something where you kind of can look to any part of life and
True,
like
true, true, true,
any media. You like I
true,
think definitely novels and films are
true, true.
influencing
Like you said,
stuff that I
because
do
that's how
more.
people will end up copying and copy pasting others, right? And that's how people will end
Yeah,
up
yeah,
like copy pasting genres that they might not even like. They just want to go big, and
yeah,
that's
yeah.
how
And
they end up in
if
this
it's
pool
something
of
that,
sharks that
hmm,
everyone's trying to bite each other and go bigger.
yeah,
Yeah,
and definitely, yeah, yeah, for sure. And I think you can go back 20 years to look at old games, and you see all these things that no one's doing anymore as well. And it's kind of exciting to like, oh yeah, I forgot that games could be like this as well.
true, true, true.
um,
Yeah, and it's very hard, in my opinion, to find that balance that still be appealing for a wider audience or for the players that you would like to target, if you know who would you like to target,
mm,
but still stick to your vision, right? Because in my opinion, at the end of the day, what matters really more for me, at least from the player's perspective, is that to have those creators who really stick to their vision and true to their honesty, right? Because then
mm.
you will get these awesome games, in my opinion, risky games, right?
Yeah,
Which are risky
yeah,
because,
and
like,
something unique. Yeah,
exactly, exactly, and unique. Yeah, exactly, exactly, exactly. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Thank you for the question, by the way, and for the answer as well to that
yeah,
question.
it's good.
Any more questions? Bármilyen más kérdés? Let us know. Let us know. Any more question? Bármilyen más kérdés? By the way, you mentioned also like you always love to challenge yourself in life and in your work when you're working on games. How would you like to challenge yourself in the future?
Mm. I mean, I think it's just something a lot of people naturally do because you kind
True,
of
true,
always want to
true,
push.
true.
You're always sort of pushing.
Your knowledge, yeah.
Probably just yeah, you don't tend to feel like with creative stuff that you ever feel.
That you reach
Yeah, I don't know.
something,
You
yeah.
never feel that there's not more to
True,
learn.
true,
So,
true, true, true.
the Drifter, the big thing I kind of feel like I had to learn a lot of was just writing and like trying to
I
be
see,
better at writing
I
and
see.
plotting and characters and all that stuff. Because I'd only ever done small games before, like short things where you
I
can
see.
have kind of a one note character or something, and like they have a nice little arc and it's satisfying. But then making that work in a longer game is a lot more challenging because they've got to have a lot more dimensions to
True,
them. And
true, 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 true.
so yeah, that was, but it was also like an exciting thing because suddenly I'm like listening to podcasts about writing and realizing how much depth there is to and how much work people put into writing to
True,
like and how much thought goes into everything. It's and
true.
I'm learning a lot about how that stuff works and how to tell a good story or do. And I'm not that I'm amazing at it or anything, but like it's exciting
I'm sure,
to
I'm
keep
sure, I'm
finding
sure you are very good
things
at
to
it. I'm
learn.
sure you were very good at
Well, hopefully I'm all
about it.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, like discovering more things to learn. That there's like other things that you haven't that you get excited to learn more about. Yeah, that's always something that I find satisfying personally. Like, yeah, when you can suddenly have this. Yeah, you kind of can go over the top of a hill and suddenly see this big view of all this stuff you don't know, and like, oh, there's lots more to learn. You know.
True. You're not at the end, right? So
Yeah,
you still
exactly.
have
It's
to
always
go.
more.
True. Okay. Okay, Darrow is asking. Yeah, I totally agree with you. I really like when an indie game dev put his soul and little things in the game. Nowadays, I see a lot of AI content, AI voice, AI text, etc., and it makes me kind of sad. Yeah. Hello, Darrow. Hello. Have you got any questions, Darrow? Let us know.
Yeah, I'm always with the AI stuff. I'm and art and stuff, especially AI art, or probably AI writing as well. Like, I'm always I play a lot of game jam games as well, and I always love to see someone's like first sprite they've ever drawn, or first like crummy picture of a dragon or whatever. I love that stuff. But if they just get an AI thing to do it, it might look technically it looks better, but it's not. It doesn't have any heart to it to me. It's like
True.
so. I definitely
And
prefer to
also
see
do not
their
have that
first
style
bad
that we
drawing.
talked about, right? The personal
Exactly.
style.
Yeah, it's not their thing. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it doesn't. It's not theirs. Yeah. So yeah, definitely not. It's not. I'm not. It's not something that I feel like is has that much value.
True.
Yeah, in that
But
sense
it's
at least.
interesting, by the way, because there are some key examples of like AI being a very good thing in the video game industry. I always mention this example of like the finals. It's a multiplayer FPS game, and there I'm not sure if you heard about it, but like the voice cast of the announcers have been made by AI because like they thought AI for two people voices, like a male and female voice, and the announcers are like basically announcing everything in game during the matches with AI. So the AI
Yeah. See, that's because it's
constant,
dynamic. That's
yeah,
quite
it's
interesting. Yeah.
dynamic. Yeah, so it's dynamic AI and it's responding to everything that you do during a match, even if you kill
Yeah.
an
Yeah. So
enemy
that's
or
where
you
it's.
pick up the
I like that
cash.
because that's solving a problem.
Yeah,
You know that like and it's cool.
So
Yeah.
it's like more of a gameplay aspect of AI
Like
thinking.
I've always had a yeah, like procedural generation has always been really interesting.
Exactly.
I've like as for most programmers that's really interesting.
True.
But the modern AI thing feels like it's almost a separate like thing. So like yeah, procedurally generating commentary is awesome. Like I love that idea.
True.
But then just using AI to make some dialogue so you don't have to pay a voice actor. It's like I don't care about that.
True. Very true.
That's cool. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, there says no. I'm just joined 10 minutes ago. I'm listening. Okay. Got you with that. Okay, let us know. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions, let us know. While you are waiting for more questions, do you feel like throughout all the years that you worked on video games, so many games, not even just in a team, but for your own games as well, or on your own games as well, you found yourself in life because it was always a dream of yours and you are now at the right place, right time?
You mean do I have I sort of had that thought that like oh yeah I'm doing what I want to be doing
Yeah,
kind of thing?
exactly.
Is that what you're asking? Yeah, but it's sometimes it's more like I have to try and remind myself of that because I'm finding it stressful. I'm like, and then but no, sometimes yeah, I'm like, actually yeah, like I've got to yeah, but it is totally a like, oh man, I've got to remind myself. I'm like doing exactly what I want to be doing, and I'm able to make a living doing it. It's pretty awesome, and I'm like pretty privileged. But yeah, it's like I don't know. It's the way your brain works. It always makes things like it always finds the next thing to be worried or find like problem you have to try and solve. And so yeah, I do have to stop myself and make myself realize how cool that is. Absolutely.
You're talking about like finding the audience for games that creators make. How hard do you feel or easy to market games in the video game industry? Because we talked about
Yeah,
like
no,
the business part
that's
as well
hard. Yeah.
being boring, but how do you feel about it?
Yeah, I mean yeah, it's not it's a challenging thing. Like for us, we've always tried to be kind of organic with our marketing and just made content. Like I think the most successful marketing stuff we've done is our trailers and things like that because we put a lot of work into it, like a lot of work into making trailers we think
I
people will
always
find
said, by the way,
entertaining.
trailers matter. I remember myself having this blog when I was like, I don't know, 14 or 15, on a Hungarian video game journalist website before I became like an official video game journalist, having this blog of the title was in Hungarian like ütős video game trailer. It means in English that like very awesome video game trailers, and I always had like 4, 5, 6 trailers in one episode, and like explaining why I think those trailers are such awesome trailers. And I always
Awesome. Yeah.
believed and still believe that video game trailers really matter, right? So I
Mm.
remember like 10 years ago, it was something that like big companies really worked their ass off to get a trailer out there and be very, very good to hype up people, right? Because like you said, it really matters in my opinion.
Yeah,
So-
yeah, and they can be kind of cool content on their own as well.
Exactly,
Things that people
exactly,
want to watch and then they
exactly,
want to share them,
exactly,
and then like that's just they're not sharing them because you've paid a lot of money or anything, or to like
exactly.
a company to put them on their website. It's just like people share them because they like it because it's awesome, you know. And that's
Exactly.
I mean, for us that's the ideal, but I don't know how realistic it is.
True.
And then it worked for us for Crawl really well. So, but then it's very different now than it was 10 years ago.
True,
Like,
true.
because back then I think games like traditional games journalism was still a much bigger thing, and so
Exactly.
like all
I agree
our
with
trailers
that.
and stuff shared on all that stuff, and less.
That's
and
why
now
I
it's
quit
maybe more.
every video game journalist website that I was working for, because it's about corruption now and having scores similar to Metacritic scores, which sucks in my opinion. Like it's so sad that
it's not fun for
people
the writers.
yeah, exactly. People cannot have a freedom of writing and scoring games as they would like to, because your boss
and you don't-
tells you to like, have this score like Metacritic does, but no, man, like why? I don't know.
No, it's hard. It breaks my heart.
True. Mine too, because like it's really like direct this whole video game industry for a very like wrong roads, and really like pushes towards these creators and companies like end their career and as a game developer, and I feel like it's an ongoing cancel culture, not just from the player's perspective but also from these video game journalists. I'm not sure. I always try to solve this mystery of are these people getting paid to hate, or is it just they are, I don't know, sorry to being harsh about it, or dumb. They are that dumb, or I don't know why they are doing that. But it breaks my heart too, because like I said, I was working for so many video game journalist companies, and when my bosses told me like to downscale my scores, I was like, no, fuck no. Like,
yeah, I feel like it's probably it's just got hard. I think it got harder for the bosses to keep things afloat as well.
Yeah,
like,
but it's their job to show games, and like in my opinion, I remember like magazines, reading magazines as a kid.
Yeah,
magazines, first of all, most of them here in Hungary did not have scores. Let's say that.
Yeah,
so
right. Yeah.
It wasn't. I always say this, that those articles about video games and reviews were much more like us analyzing poems in school, right? You never said that this poem sucks, right? You just analyzed what's in it. What segments do it have, like,
and a lot of the time it's like how it personally affected that.
Exactly. And thinking about the creator thoughts or how they did it, because you are interested in that, exactly, or you want to make others interested. But people who are trying to tell the society, the players, not to buy something just because they did not like it, it's like choosing, not letting the option for players to choose, right? And it's not fair in my opinion.
Because exactly.
It's like, it's not that you are promoting games because you said that this game is good and you analyze it, because if you analyze it, it's just you show what segments does a game have, right? Even if it's like something you did not like or something you liked, right? But that would be like the objective based criticism, right? That we would like to talk about as a video game journalist, right? Exactly.
Yeah,
but
like
it ends up
dry review ever.
exactly. But it ends up being a hater, and why? Like, it's crazy to me, and it's nonsense. And people do not understand it, that they listen to these people who are telling them not to buy a game. And I had so many friends who were like ending up not buying a game just because their favorite streamer or journalist told them not to buy it. And when they saw a stream at my Twitch, or just talking about a game that I was telling them that it's really good, try it out, or at least the demo, right? Because we have demos almost for every game right now. So it's not rare like it was in the past 10 years, right? And it changed their mind, and they were like, wow, I didn't even know that it's such a good game. So I don't know. It's just sad to see this because it really can cancel a lot of people's work and
Yeah.
really have that point of their life where like they have to like say that okay, it's not working out for me. I'm not
Mm.
into game dev anymore. I'm searching for a 9 to 5 job, and yeah, it sucks. It sucks to see that happening.
Yeah. No, yeah, I agree.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And even with like, especially like the being as a game developer, having reviews in a physical magazine is somehow like the most amazing special thing compared to just because I grew up with magazines and
Me too. Yeah,
reading
yeah,
game
yeah.
magazines, and like it's really sad that that's fully becoming rare and probably not going to
Exactly.
be a thing much longer
Exactly.
at all.
Exactly. People are lazy to read.
I'm
Let's
very
let's let's say
missing.
that, right? A
Yeah.
lot of people
Well, I mean,
nowadays,
I
sadly.
can't say that I subscribe to lots of game magazines either, so it's not like I'm not part of the problem.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
But they
True.
were
True.
always there
True.
if I
True.
wanted them.
True. True. True.
Yeah.
True. True. Very true. Very true. How your perspective as a player changed, by the way, for or from working on video games for so many years?
I mean, I kind of appreciate them in different ways,
I
I
see.
think. Um, yeah, I don't know. I still play games the same way I always did, I think.
I see.
It's not it's like some people sort of say that they can't play games anymore or can't enjoy them the same way they used to, but I've never really found that. I've always sort of been, I don't know, yeah. Maybe because I never was really into big AAA games, and I'm
I see.
still not. I kind of find them a bit samey usually, and I'm not as impressed by them
That's the risk
as
that I was
I guess
talking about
I was a
earlier.
few.
Sorry for
Hmm,
interrupting you. That's the risk that I was talking about earlier, that big companies are not willing to take those risks anymore because like
yeah,
there is a high expectation of players wanting a good game, but they do not even know. I always tell this that they do not even know what's a good game for them. And AAA studios ends up having these games released that will never be appealing to players because they have so high expectations, and they end up like realizing that okay, now we are doing just safe play game and we are releasing the same type of genres and games all over again, and I
yeah,
think that
yeah.
that could be the problem behind it, or the reason behind this problem is
Well, it's,
that
yeah, no, it's they cost too much to make. It's like
true,
they're so expensive to make that the risk of one flopping that will just bankrupt a company is
true,
just
true, true,
they
true,
can't take
true,
risks. It's
true,
like
true,
it's
true, true.
impossible, and it's irresponsible for them to take risks because they've got like 300 people's salaries that they're
Sure,
paying, and
exactly,
so the studio, the director, and the project lead, they're kind of responsible for these people, and they can't just decide we're just going to make something that's like that is not considered marketable because or like do
exactly.
things in a weird different way that
Yeah,
people
but that's the
might not
thing.
like
That's ten
because
years
that's a
ago.
big risk to take,
True, true,
which is
true,
not a good way to run a creative kind of
true, true,
industry.
true, true, true,
So
true.
it's like, yeah, we'll see how it goes. I think it'll evolve over time, but it's been, yeah, no, I kind of made a decision a while ago to stop buying sequels to games that I never finished
I see, I see, I
because
see.
I kept buying. I was like, oh, I didn't finish the last one, but this one I'll finish, or this one I'll play, and then I just play it for a bit. It's like, oh, it's just more of the last one that I didn't
The
finish.
backlog
Why did I
list
buy?
of yours is long
It's
then,
exactly the
right?
same. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, no, I play heaps of indie games now, partly because they're quick to play, they're much faster, and mostly AAA stuff is if I'm like I might play like multiplayer with friends, just like because we want to try out the new thing and just get. That's more about getting together with some friends and like chatting over
True,
Discord
true,
while we
true,
play
true,
some random game,
true, true.
as opposed to what the game is itself. So I haven't been. Yeah, I don't know. I think the last proper AAA game I played was probably Elden Ring. Like I don't think I've really played. Maybe there's probably something else I played, but yeah. So yeah, very much less and less. I'm playing a big AAA blockbusters, and it's really just lots and lots of little weird indie games,
I
which I
see,
like. I like that. But yeah,
I see,
there's a
I
lot of
see,
them that are good to play there, so
I
that's
see,
good. It keeps me busy. And
I
yeah, I
see.
mean, there's always the backlog of a million things. But
True, true, true. I know. I can relate to that. Yeah, yeah. There are so many games that I would like to backlog, but yeah, time.
mm,
It's always
yeah,
this funny joke about like we as kids, not having enough money to buy all games.
oh
Then we
god,
have
yeah,
a daily job or job that we like to do, and we have all the money to buy all the games, but we do not have the time for playing all
yeah,
the games we have,
no,
right?
yeah, that's right.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Any more questions, by the way, ladies and gentlemen? Any more questions? Let us know. Let us know. Let us know. Any more questions? Any more questions? Let us know. Let us know. Let us know. Let us know. We touched here, by the way, a lot of topics. Before I will go some more closing questions, is there anything that we haven't touched and you would like to talk about, even if it's like the personal aspect of being a game developer, your life, or working in a team, about the games that you worked on? Anything?
I guess, yeah. I mean, one thing I've been enjoying the last couple of years is I've been working on more tool stuff
Okay.
that other people are using.
Okay.
Specifically, like the main one recently is PowerQuest, which is like a Unity plugin, which is a bit like it sort of works very similar to the way the first tool I used, Adventure Game Studio,
I see.
works similar to that, which is the thing that got me into making games. And so that's been really nice because it's sort of building a community a bit on our Discord of people making games with it, and
Nice.
and yeah, sort of having other people making games with tools I've made is really satisfying as well.
I see.
Again, because of that, having had that be something that was valuable to me. So that's been something that's been really
That's really
been
nice
really
of you,
nice.
by the way.
And like it's like like there's a bunch of sort of support, and I mean it's I tend to quite enjoy like just going on our Discord and people have questions. How do I do this kind of thing with it? Or I think how do I solve this problem or whatever, and being able to sort of chime in and help out. And fixing bugs and sort of updating it and things like that.
I respect that, by the way, that you're giving
a,
back to the people. I respect that.
it's I mean it's a sort of tool I'm using for the Drifter as well, so it's kind of been built up alongside that, and that's what I've used for all the kind of game jams, adventure games I've done as well. But yeah, no, it's definitely been satisfying. Like I guess it is time consuming at times, but it's definitely felt like it's a nice, a nice thing to do, and a nice thing for me as well. Not even just as a nice for other people, but like a nice thing personally that I kind of get a lot of enjoyment out of, and a lot of kind of it feels good, I guess to see people making things with with stuff you've built. Yeah, that's enough. Yeah.
I see. Have you always, by the way, had this mindset of helping people? Because I respect that. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, I mean, I think with it probably honestly comes back to the thing we talked about right at the start, where like it was always just exciting early when I was a kid to find other people who were happy to talk about games, and that sort of has sort of evolved from talking about games to talking about game development and making stuff. And so I do really enjoy. Yeah, I really enjoy talking about that stuff with people, and then naturally I want more people to do it. Be excited about the things I'm excited about. So it's part of that as well, I think. Yeah.
Thank you for that. Thank you. Oh, Daryl asked that what do you struggle with the most in the making?
Yeah. Definitely the business accounting stuff. That stuff's like stressful, but yeah. For this project, really, there hasn't been any big single difficulty things. It's just been lots of just a lot of work. Yeah, just like next one foot in front of the other kind of thing. And there's always the next problem to solve, and getting it, working on it and figuring it out. The scariest times have definitely been more the business related stuff, and where I feel like we're releasing a game and we're screwing something up, and we're gonna mess it up, and we'll have wasted all this effort. Those kind of scary thoughts, and feeling like we kind of feel a bit in control of the game development stuff because we know what we're doing, but we feel like all the other accounting and legal and business and marketing things are kind of we're not experts at that stuff, and so those things are the kind of cosmic horror that sort of creeps
True,
in
but
and
it's
like
understandable because there are
keeps you up
so
at
many
night.
like publishers that had these weird stories of like asking for too much money from developers, right? And they did
Yeah,
not help
yeah,
that much
absolutely.
for developers. So there are those
Yeah, well,
scary
even that.
stories that you mentioned.
Yeah,
They are
like those.
existing.
Yeah, those. Just this business decisions is probably actually the thing that's the
True,
scariest because it's like,
true, true,
yeah,
true,
like even
true.
back on Crawl, like we had publisher opportunities. Maybe they would have been good to take up. Maybe they wouldn't have been. And we ended up doing really well, and we're still sort of being able to fund ourselves. So that's
True, true.
So I think hopefully we did the right thing, but there's always that like thought in the back of your head, oh, maybe we're screwing everything up by not like this publisher saying that that'll be amazing and we should sign with them or something. Maybe we're
See,
screwing it
see,
up,
see, see,
screwing
see.
ourselves. But and yeah, the same thing with lots of things to do with the little decisions like, oh, when should we say our release date is, or how should we price our game, like all these tiny little things that are decisions you got to make at some point, and you
People
kind of can
think
get as
that
much.
it's not that hard to make these decisions, but it is really hard, right? So
Yeah, well, it's just hard because it's a lot might you feel like a lot might hinge on it,
true, true, true,
whereas
true,
whereas the day-to-day things you do in your game, the decisions you
true,
make
true,
don't change everything. They just change that little part of it,
true, true, true,
potentially. But I think it's more a fear. It's not necessarily true. Like
true,
if
true.
you price your game too high, it might not sell as well initially, but then you might do better in sales later when you discount it more or something. I don't know,
True.
but you feel like that's a big scary decision.
I agree with
um,
that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, because at the end
just
of
because
the
of
day, you
that.
are still like focusing on the creative side, right? Not on this business side, and that's how it ends up being scary
Yeah,
because you
yeah,
don't know where you are swimming in that business ocean, right? So
yeah, yeah. It's outside your sort of wheelhouse of
true,
knowledge. And
true.
I think even once you do it more, like I'm definitely not going to be nearly as scared shipping the Drifter as I was with Crawl, where it was our first thing, and we're like, oh, what are we doing? We don't know. We're completely clueless, So we've done it before, so at least I can tell myself, look, it was fine last time. It'll probably be fine this time. Um, but that was, oh man, I had some really so stressed on the first project doing that the first time.
Learning experience,
Definitely.
let's say, right?
Yeah,
Learning
yeah, yeah. It
experience.
was full on. I think that because I mean, even like my first time I had to talk to someone like on video chat to like someone from the press or whatever was like, what? I have to do this now? I used to just get to like go to work and sit at my desk, and now I have to like talk to someone. This is not what I signed up
I
for.
hope it
Like,
was not a
I don't
problem
talk
for
to people.
you. Talk with me now.
No, no, no. Because
I'm just
that's
joking. I'm
I
just
got
joking.
over that. I got
Yeah.
over that. But no, I remember that being like a big scary thing at first. I was like, what? I have to talk to him?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The unknown, being the scared of unknown, right? Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
You sort of build things up in your head as well. Like
True, true,
initially, it's like,
true.
oh,
There's a
something
story
make or
writer
break.
in you at the end of the day, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Nice,
For
nice,
sure.
nice, nice. Thank you for the question, by the way, and for the answer as well.
Yeah, yeah. Good question.
Pendrive is saying that your lookalike reminds him to someone he knows. He just don't know who it is, and he's thinking constantly on it, like for 5 minutes now, watching the stream our interview. Okay, okay, okay. Any more questions, by the way, ladies and gentlemen? Any more questions? Let us know. Let us know. Any more questions? Any more questions? Bármilyen más kérdés? Any more questions? Let us know. Let us know. Let us know. Let us know. Also, by the way, marketing time, right? Don't forget to try out the demos of the games.
Yes, for
And,
sure.
and
Yeah, Drifter demo's
also,
up.
go for it. Go for it. No, go for it.
Check
Go
it
for it.
out. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, check out the Drifter. It's up on Steam. The demo's available on Steam. And then yeah, go to our itch.io page, powerwolf.itch.io. There's like heaps of weird games to play, and especially if you like adventure games, I've got a bunch of different adventure games. A lot of them are sort of shorter ones, but yeah, like I'm sure you can find something. There's comedies. There's thrillers. There's like a bunch of different ones, and I think they're fun because each of them has a little self-contained story, so they're like good ones to check out.
Are they connected, by the way, to each other, or they are disconnected?
No. So I sort of started the first one I did that inspired the Drifter a bit was called Peridium, and that was the first time I'd done like a serious like adventure, and it was a thriller. It was kind of meant to be like a bit like Invasion of the Body Snatchers, but if it's all in someone's head kind of thing. But then it ended up being more like The Thing because we sort of set it in the Antarctic. um, and that one people really liked, and I really liked the reception because people were coming up with fan theories for
nice.
Like what happened, I think this is what happened and blah blah. And I was like, oh wow, people got really into it, and it's just like a story I made up in like a few hours while we were scrambling to get this game. Which I thought was awesome. So, after I did that was when I was like, I really want to make a full length, kind of similar style game like thriller. That was a fun one. And I made another one, kind of spiritual sequel called Alluvium, which was different setting and stuff. So it's like a sort of someone stranded on a desert island, like an engineer, and there's sort of cannibalism stuff happening and spooky stuff. It's still a thriller, I guess, as well. But yeah, then was like, I'll have a break from that and do kind of comedy. And so, but I wanted it to feel like at the start you think it's going to be another thriller, and so it started with this sort of evil mad scientist kind of talking about his creation he's making, but then the creation is just like a really goofy like idiot who's teasing him all the time and stuff. And so they're kind of it's like a buddy comedy with this sort of Lovecraftian kind of very self-serious professor and this very silly kind of guy. So, yeah, all sorts of things. Sorry, I got off topic. I was meant to be plugging myself.
I respect that. Thank you for that. Thank you. Oh, okay. Pendrive got it in his head. Who lookalike is in his head. Yeah. He's a Hungarian songwriter and singer. Yeah. Pixa. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Nice. Thank you for that.
I'll have to Pixa. Is it? I've got
Pixa. I will link it. Link your YouTube channel. So if you write Pixa Hungarian.
Nice. Yeah, my son's got a good friend who's from Hungary.
Oh, nice.
So I'll have to ask if there's what the resemblance is.
Nice. Okay. So we talked here about a lot of topics. Is there anything that you would like to mention and talk that we might miss talking about before I ask a closing question?
No, that's been really good.
No, go for it. Go for it if you have, because
no, I don't think there's anything I can think of in particular. Okay. Yeah,
you will be able to think about it after the stream, right? Realizing that you wanted to say this and that on a list, right? Yeah. Okay. So my closing question would be, from all of your experiences so far, working on so many games together with your friend and also alone as well, what would be your advice for those people who would like to start their dreams making their own games, even if it's a career for them, even if it's a hobby, they are scared to make the first step or steps?
My favorite like this is to just start making games. Okay. But you small and like something you can get out quickly and don't try and make it good. So why would I want to make something that's not good? And so I think the way we sort of approached it early on was really not for like everyone to think is good, but like if you just or like your friend true. And just something to make them think it's cool. I think a good way to like go, okay, I can make a game which will make and it can be something really stupid where all you're doing is clicking something, and then just build from there, like because if you enjoy that, then you're going to enjoy making something else, and you're going to enjoy making the next thing and making something bigger and bigger and bigger.
It might be a lot of people who will enjoy it too, right? So
well, that's the other thing is if you've ever played a game someone's made for a specific person, they're always really funny and fun and very endearing, because it's like, oh, so yeah, they clearly made it for one person, but then it's actually really fun to see that, because it's one person's thing they've made for another person.
Very true.
So yeah, like making something for you to make your friends laugh is a good way to go.
True. I respect that, by the way. I respect those people who are like really giving their all to like having their own vision put to the table with games or with any creation, any arts or forms of art that they do. So I respect that.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you for that. Thank you. Thank you.
No worries.
Oh, by the way, Darrow said I searched up on Steam. This looks amazing. I give it a try. I really like pixel art games. Thank you for that.
Awesome.
I really like your logo too. Looks cool.
Yeah,
Darrow said. Thank you for that. Okay. Thank you, by the way. Thank you. I really appreciate your time and
thanks for the
honesty and
chat.
everything. Thank you so much for that. Thank you, and thank you for the questions from the chat as well. I really appreciate the questions from the chat as well, and for the answers as well for those questions.
Yeah. Thanks. And your questions as well. They've been very deep and good.
Thank you.
Like,
Thank you. I'm trying to be unique and really personal, have this personal touch of my show so people can really see behind the curtain. And I hope that these topics that we were talking about and your honesty and my guest honesty really form that bridge, between the players and the developers. Because at the end of the day, I really would like to see this ongoing cancel culture being stopped, and everyone just having fun with playing games, because that would be the ultimate
definitely
goal,
the
right?
idea that game developers and gamers don't want the same thing is really weird.
True. But sadly, it happens that people think that from the player's perspective.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Sadly. Yeah. Thank you again. It was really my honor for your time and for you being here with us today. And like I said, thank you for the questions from my chat people as well. Like I said, I will need some more of your minutes of stream, but for those who are watching us live or will be watching back the VOD version or the edited version later on YouTube, thank you for joining us for today's episode with us. And yeah, don't forget also to try out the demos on Steam, try out the full smaller games on itch.io, and also be on the lookout and wishlist the games that are coming out, hopefully next year, right? So thank you for that, everyone, and have a nice day or night, depending